not saying that this is what it is. The hard truth is that so many in Western society treat any solidarity with the Palestinians as some kind of extremist thing, that any understanding of Palestinian history and culture and framing Israel as what it actually is, a serial violator of human rights engaged in violent apartheid and genocide against the Palestinians, is totally unacceptable.
I have it like in a really weird place.
Quite a lot of what was being done was, you know, let's all get together, let's all be nice to each other, let's all show some solidarity. And then you find that actions are carried out by people and they get away with it. I think that's completely wrong. We need to be enforcers of the law, not bystanders.
Samantha, would you like to come back on that?
To
I get like the
she just said.
rules of this game down. I stopped playing it.
Strict laws, specifically with such terms. You know, we can all say they're open to interpretation, but there's clear intent with those kind of terms. River to the sea. And I think it's just been far too...
By the way, all of these idiots talk about a two-state solution as well, with the Israeli government, who is unwilling to do that.
Casual the last couple of years. It's been allowed to just escalate. And the problem is the radicalisation, and it's becoming normalised. And that's the problem. There needs to be some crystal clear law.
Did any of these people who were part of the Islamic State regularly go to pro-Palestine protests? Do we know? Because Islamic State people don't particularly tend to like other Muslims.
And they need to be shown.
Yes.
And also, I think another thing I'd like to be seen taken care of is the media's impact as well.
God, that was lucky.
The problems with the BBC and other media outlets, I think...
By the way, all of these media outlets are so unequivocally pro-Israel that this is just the most ridiculous thing.
Be some clearer laws with that as well, and some investigations.
I think Samantha's right about the BBC. There was that documentary that was horrific. There are clearly problems with BBC.
Do you know what the documentary she's referring to as horrific is? It was because the narrator, his father was a Hamas agricultural minister.
Oh, it just closed off the valve or whatever.
The Director General about them. The media also helps to shift the debate and the narrative. And the fact is, Jewish communities are scared. I visited a primary school.
No, what am I doing?
So much security around it. You know, I've got children in primary school. I can't imagine them having to deal with that. It's just awful. People putting feces through the doors of Jewish people not being able to celebrate their faith publicly because they're worried about what happened in Heaton Park and Bondi Beach, and also the targeting around...
For all of the surveillance and powers that these people have gained since 9/11, they haven't really done a very good job at capturing Islamic
you were already
extremists.
saying that it was like a terrorism support
to do
chant.
with the UK's cultivation and the US's cultivation and utilization of Islamic extremists. I don't know.
Religious festivals. It's horrific.
It is really crazy to like blending together of just like anything that's like associated with Muslims. Like it's like an ISIS attack. They're like, no, it's Palestine.
By the way, the Islamic State have literally done that in Europe.
Muslim terrorists.
Like the Islamic State have attacked people in Europe. And like the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group was where the Ariana Grande attacker came from. And the UK cultivated and supported the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. We didn't call it a terrorist organization when the US government did, and we tried to use the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group to go and assassinate Gaddafi, and we let them go across, and the father and son, Salman Abedi, who carried out the Manchester Arena bombing, was part of the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group.
Us need to do more than offer words of solidarity.
And like, yeah, racism is a bad thing, but this whole thing of like very racist politicians like Kemi Badenoch and all of them who have no regard for the tens of thousands of Palestinians who are killed, going on and on about anti-Semitism is insane to me. It frankly is.
We will, certainly as a party, we have a stronger stance, but we will be taking action on this in a much firmer way than we did last time. I don't think that we did enough last time.
Are you religious yourself?
Oh, okay.
Not particularly, no. I grew up in a Christian household. My grandfather was a Methodist rabbi.
Okay, I'm not listening to her tell us all about how religious she is, but the level of discourse in the UK has been impressive. We had Labour's Jess Phillips telling us about Intifada.
Intifadas having overtones of violence, Minister.
I think calling for to globalise the intifada can only...
God, I love that
shit. She can't even pronounce Intifada. She calls it Infatada.
I'm so scared of this word. It's so serious. I'm so serious. I'm not even going to learn how to say it.
Of Infatada other than like an uprising.
It's Intifada, of course.
Dire the situation is.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yes, that's right.
Is to call for uprising
But
I feel like if you were like, we can't let them spread Islam here, we can't let that, it's evil, and somebody was like, what's evil about it? And you're just like, I don't know.
And enabled a genocide
I don't know,
and an apartheid state and the mass
it's gotta be bad,
Palestinian people. Why is that so evil? Why is that so evil, calling for an uprising against that? That's clearly what globalize the Intifada means.
We've seen what can happen in an environment where the idea of calling people to arms or violence, that is a very real thing that is happening across our country. The Home Secretary is undertaking a review specifically of public order and hate crime to make sure that the police have the exact tools across the country that they need to deal with
Give the police more powers. They've done so well with those powers, haven't they?
This issue and has invested...
Exactly, Ivan. They'll literally say anything. They don't give a shit.
Heavily, £10 million extra this year to a total of 28 million.
By the way, these are people who the Labour government advocated for Maccabi Tel Aviv fans to come to the UK not long ago, and they've just been fined €20,000 by UEFA for racist chanting. If anyone cannot see how in the context of Palestine or Muslim communities, how going around chanting death to Arabs, your horrible songs about them, would increase community tensions is insane.
In ensuring that safety and security of our Jewish community and their schools and places of worship and elsewhere is absolutely a primary priority of the government.
So you will share the dismay of many that the BBC described the Intifada on its website as largely unarmed and popular.
Yes, both Intifadas were largely non-violent and popular. For the vast majority of people who participated, even in the second Intifada, they engaged in non-violent resistance. It was more militarized, but as I just showed you with the Edward Said thing, does anyone understand how this might have become more militarized? When protesting Palestinians were being killed and thousands were being wounded, and especially after the non-violent resistance of the first Palestinian Intifada was met with mass torture and violence against Palestinians. I seem to remember the peace lover Yitzhak Rabin declaring the need to break the bones of Palestinians.
I mean, I haven't seen that, but look, to me, when you say when people start shouting things like "globalise the Intifada," like
it's amazing that she still can't pronounce Intifada.
The connotation is clear.
But yeah, as I say, with these marches, it's become very clear that they are not having the effect that people hope. But this will bring huge amounts of people. Will bring huge amounts more people to support the protests. I guarantee it. It's a stupid move by the UK government. This is what the BBC said. The term Intifada came into popular use during the Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation. It was largely unarmed and popular uprising that continued until the early 1990s. The Intifada also saw the development of groups outside the control of the PLO, notably Hamas. That's also, by the way, that's also problematic. Hamas did uprise. I guess notably you can say that, but many other groups didn't actually. Many other groups came out of it, like a camp-led resistance movement. The second Intifada began in September 2000 after a controversial visit by Ariel Sharon, then opposition leader, to a holy site in Jerusalem. It is sometimes referred to as the Al-Aqsa Intifada after the Al-Aqsa Mosque in the Haram al-Sharif, known as to Jews as Temple Mount. The BBC doesn't quite go there, but the first Intifada was non-violent civil disobedience, but was met with shocking levels of military and settler violence and collective punishment by the IOF, which is when Hamas and other armed groups emerge. Yes. How do you think Hamas gained legitimacy? Like, how do you think armed and militant resistance gained legitimacy when popular, non-violent resistance didn't work? Why do you think? And that it was met with brutal repression. There is literally an article by some guy who's not Ari Shavit on Gaza Beach, where he talks about his feelings of becoming a Nazi. Or how he felt like he was becoming a Nazi. Wait, I'll show you. About how they just mass tortured Palestinians. He literally talks about his experience of being a camp guard where he just tortured Palestinians.
Okay, now I'm just getting in my head.
Intifada, when we're talking about it, during the first one, Palestinians showed huge amounts of restraint in comparison to what the Israelis were doing. And even during the second one, unsurprisingly, it was the Israelis who engaged in huge amount of violence against Palestinians. Like, yes, 1,000 Israelis died. But
I
how
did
many
this like
Palestinians
effortlessly
died?
when I went down.
How many
This
were
is
brutalized
insane.
by the state of Israel? They don't
And
give
now
a
I'm
shit.
completely
They don't
fucked,
give
so
a
I don't
shit
even know
that
why I'm
racism
bothering.
afforded 3,000 Palestinians to die. And once again, we'll pull up this one.
We knew was inevitable. We were praying, hoping that it would never happen. But no
I want
surprise
bail. I
because
wanna
of the
bail.
tone on the streets within our societies,
Cool.
with the hatred that is being expressed to the Jewish state, to Jews, and to Judaism.
that cool.
And therefore, what's happening around us is inspiring some people to translate hate speech into hate action. You know, my own story is not really so important. One of our children called me to say, have you heard? And then there were some agonizing hours, actually, to discover what really transpired. Who was this an attack on? Who was involved? Who was implicated? How many were dead? How many were injured? But deep down, we knew this was an attack on Jewish people for the sin of openly.
Have you read William Cleveland's book on the Middle East? I haven't, no. What book? Thanks for the £5, Helmet.
Celebrating their Jewishness. Time and time again, that's what we have experienced. But you know what? We saw those scenes at Bondi Beach. Far more people than the first night. And that's how it's going to be here in the UK and right around the world. We're strong, we're tenacious, and we will celebrate our...
Once again, I would love for someone to fully explain the link between the Islamic State and protests against Israel.
Our faith, without fear.
You said there about hate speech being translated into action. And I just wondered if you could expand a bit on that. There has been some criticism, obviously, of the Australian political response to it, but particularly here in the United Kingdom.
I may well check out that book. I've never heard about it. It sounds very interesting.
What is your message to political leaders, to the Prime Minister?
We have to crack down on hate speech in a far more forceful and emphatic way than...
Give the police more powers and it'll fix everything. We
previously have been doing. By the way, the Prime Minister called me yesterday to express his solidarity and support, which I genuinely appreciate. Let's take, for example, cries such as From the River to the Sea, or globalize the Intifada.
Damn, this game is brutal,
what does globalize the Intifada mean? It means what happened at Eton Park Synagogue in Manchester and Yom Kippur. It means what happened on Bondi Beach. The time has come once and for all not to allow such rhetoric to poison the minds of people.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll be allowed to play Intifada 1987 by Riyad Awad. Is that illegal? Riyad Awad? Is that now illegal? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's legal and illegal in this stupid country anymore. The times we live in, eh? There was also this article that terrorist arrests have surged by 660% due to the Palestine action ban. Just insane. Just insane. Like in both Intifadas, like Janine is based on, if you want to watch something about the Intifada, I'd recommend you watch Janine. It's just about like extrajudicial killings and the destruction of Janine and all of the violence subjected against Palestinians. You know, like Ariel Sharon was a brutal mass murderer. He killed thousands in Lebanon. He was responsible for Sabra and Shatila. He then oversaw the Intifada and engaged in humongous violence against Palestinians. Sitting there and acting as if this is a thing where uniquely Jewish people were targeted and ignoring the extreme violence, the curfews, the collective punishment, the torture, home demolitions, the mass murder of the Second Intifada inflicted on Palestinians is utterly, utterly ridiculous. Especially today when we're looking at the consequences for Palestinians. If I see the level of destruction in Palestine and I spend my time claiming that the real racist issue today, when I've seen the media treatment of Palestinians is inflicted on Jewish people in Western society, then you're not dealing with reality. You are not dealing with reality. The Bondi Beach attack, the Manchester Synagogue attack are atrocious. They were carried out by three people who pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. They weren't carried out because people chanted globalize the Intifada. They were not. The vast majority of pro-Palestine activists, if not all of them, well, of course there'll be differences, would condemn what happened at both of those situations. But none of these people care. None of these people have any interest in that because we live in an incredibly racist world. We live in a world where Donald Trump can just easily talk about the expulsion of 2 million Palestinians from Gaza, and that's acceptable, where the leader of the United States can call Somalis garbage human beings, and that's acceptable, and no one will confront that racism, you know? And we live in a world where the destruction of the lives of millions of Venezuelans is just something that Trump might do. It's just kind of fun. And I'd highly recommend Anna's Children as well. Anna's Children is fucking brilliant in terms of how it shows how people engage in militancy and how so much of it pertains to their lives being defined by Israel's actions. That these weren't barbarous monsters whose only goal was to kill Jewish people, but rather human beings whose lives were destroyed by Israel.
Bro, I keep falling for that. Like, every time I just fall for that. This is so stupid. I'm so stupid.
There was a story in the Chronicle of Higher Education about how University of Austin, which is the anti-woke university, unaccredited university started by Barry Weiss.
And with the help, of course, of a bunch of really, really rich guys like Andreessen, Horowitz, etc.
And what's his face? Harlan Crow.
Harlan Crow.
The guy who bought Thomas, or kept him on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas.
So a bunch of, Barry Weiss, her whole career has been elevated by right-wing billionaires, and this is no exception.
And the funny part about this is that UATX.
Dude, oh my God.
Was started because it was supposed to be,
every time.
We don't censor.
I do the same thing.
We are not censorious. We allow all different opinions here. According to an analysis from the Chronicle of Higher Education, many of the people who joined UATX at the beginning of the school project have departed, either by choice or due to public disagreements with the school's trajectory. Over 20 university employees have left UATX. Eli Avashi, the co-founder and director of the Mill Institute, which is an educational organization working with UATX, was asked to leave the university after posting an article about diversity in initiatives on LinkedIn. In that post, Avashi wrote, "We can have criticisms of DEI without wanting to tear down the whole concept of diversity and inclusion." And Barry Weiss fired her. In a piece for the website Quillette in May, Avashi said that she had been drawn to UATX initially because she experienced ideological tribalism while at Harvard. But Avashi said that instead, she never expected to also find ideological litmus test at UATX. In other words, there's ideological tribalism everywhere, but Harvard didn't fire you.
It's almost like Barry Weiss, who I guess
because of what you posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah, Barry Weiss. When reading about this morning, I was reminded that I guess after the election, she hosted the debate between Sam Harris and Ben Shapiro, and Sam Harris was the Kamala representative, and Shapiro was the Trump one. It's like
both sides.
Both sides. That's what. But a center-right Zionist and a far-right Zionist are going to debate American politics.
Well, that was like my old buddy Indy Mike, who said, "I'm an independent. I listen to both sides. I listen to both Megyn Kelly and Sean Hannity."
And Bill Maher now.
Yeah. But this story is not about Barry Weiss at UATX or UATX or whatever that unaccredited Trump university is.
UATX.
I forgot about this.
She is now the head of all the news at CBS, based upon her running a small Substack. And there was, for weeks apparently,
okay, I'll try one more time.
Advertising about a 60 Minutes story that was going to be about CCOT, which of course is that gulag in El Salvador that the Trump administration sent just randos who were not American citizens there. Although I think there was one, was there one American citizen?
I just saw that.
Either way, this is where Kilmar Abrego Garcia was sent. This is where the hairdresser, the gay hairdresser was sent. The man with the autism awareness tattoo. The real horror stories that we've highlighted. People remember that CCOT's essentially a torture camp. They is horrifically abuse the detainees there.
And so CBS had advertised the segment on Friday, featuring interviews by Sharon Alfonsi, among others. They interviewed some of the deported migrants who have since been released from the Gulag, saying they described, quote, the brutal and torturous conditions they endured. And Bari Weiss apparently, I think at first killed it and then said, oh, we're just actually holding it back for more content.
For comment. For comment by the Trump administration.
Well, and here's the thing. Yes, they want to actually allow Stephen Miller to go on camera. And the point is that
should have never rung that bell.
For weeks, in fact, weeks and weeks, they have asked, at least the reporters did, comment from the White House, and they said nothing. So Sharon Alfonsi, this 60 Minutes correspondent, said that Bari Weiss had spiked the story. And the reason why we know this is because apparently the Wall Street Journal reported it because they got a hold of this email. And the email, I'll read parts of it.
This is an internal email of that correspondent to, I guess, the rest of the CBS team.
Yes, because on Saturday, apparently, Bari Weiss spiked the story, and people were found out about it like throughout the next day, I guess, and said, what's going on? What's going on? So she wrote, news team, thank you for the notes and texts. I apologize for not reaching out earlier. I learned on Saturday that Bari Weiss spiked our story inside CCOT, which was supposed to air tonight. We, Ori and I, asked for a call to discuss her decision. She did not afford us that courtesy / opportunity. Whew. That's what's sort of like, that's honestly the most shocking thing about it. That she's like, I don't need to give you a reason at all for spiking this story that we have been advertising and it clearly has been set up to go. I mean, let's be clear what happened here. Someone in the White House saw that they were going to run with the story, and Ellison's trying to take over WB. In fact, he just offered like a $40 billion guarantee. And they realized, like, oh, this is going to be a problem for us.
Right. And her explanation of we need Stephen Miller to come on camera and comment about this, it literally just allows the Trump administration to hold the story and to kill it. Because if they never comment on it, if that's your standard, then the story doesn't come out. That's the purpose.
This is what Sharon Alfonsi. No, but that's what she wrote. We requested responses to questions or interviews with DHS, the White House, and the State Department. Government silence is a statement, not a veto.
Yep.
Their refusal to be interviewed is a tactical maneuver designed to kill the story. If the administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike a story, we have effectively handed them a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient. If the standard for airing a story becomes, quote, the government must agree to be interviewed, then the government effectively gains control over the 60 Minutes broadcast. We go from an investigative powerhouse to a stenographer for the state. These men risked their lives to speak with us. We have a moral and professional obligation to the sources who entrusted us with their stories. Abandoning them now is a betrayal of the most basic tenet of journalism, giving voice to the voiceless. She goes on to compare this to, what was the name of that movie they made about this, actually?
The Pacino one.
No, not Pacino. It was the guy...
It almost seems to not want you to.
You know, the Australian guy. The guy who was in the... Oh, come on. You know, he's the Australian action guy.
Shit.
Crocodile Dundee?
No, not Crocodile Dundee. He was in...
Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
The one about this.
Okay.
CBS spiked the Jeffrey Wiggin interview due to legal concerns, nearly destroying the credibility of this broadcast. It took years to recover from that low point. By pulling this story to shield an administration, we're repeating that history, but for political optics rather than legal.
How am I supposed to fucking dodge that right there?
That was the one about the Insider.
The Insider.
I was right.
I've never seen
Pacino.
it.
No, it's not Pacino. Maybe he was also in the film.
Yeah,
but he wasn't the Insider.
Okay. Yeah,
it was right. Russell Crowe.
Crowe was the Insider. Yeah, Pacino was the 60 Minutes journalist.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Pacino was over the hill at that point.
I get halfway.
It was all Russell Crowe. We're getting sidetracked. We've been promoting the she wrote, and I should say
we are getting sidetracked.
Yes, I am getting sidetracked. I got this. The full letter was posted by Yashar Ali.
Israel's days of participating in European soccer may soon be numbered. We're joined now by Ashish Bashar, who's campaign director for Game Over Israel, which has been kind of raising the pressure on UEFA and the clubs throughout Europe to try to pressure them to basically kick Israeli clubs out of European soccer. Ashish, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you were able to get a major ad up in Times Square that if you're watching this, is basically Israel is committing genocide, don't basically boycott Israeli soccer, which then kicked off a wave of news coverage. So how hard was it to actually get that billboard? I don't think those are necessarily that easy.
No. So the interesting backstory is when we put this whole campaign together, we were looking for that moment that could not just operationalize our campaign. I did it. Damn, I'd been so good about politics work, and we wanted the rest of the movement to be galvanized by this moment, right? And nothing beats a billboard in Times Square, which, as you know, the world's press just had to cover. Papers like the FT, which haven't been great on the genocide, had a whole page with the billboard, saying Israel's committed a genocide. Why did we also pick that date? It was that morning in Geneva, the UN declared it a genocide at the Human Rights Council. Right, so that happened in the morning. So we knew that by the afternoon we could put that billboard up with any of that argument about whether it is or is not a genocide. Now the billboard, the backstory is interesting, was actually sold to the team by an Israeli Canadian, and he happens to be a free speech abolitionist, believes in it through and through. Yep, and basically said that I don't agree with you. The only thing he required was that the UN or any serious organization confirmed it was a genocide. And that is why we waited to that morning to get him the evidence, which was the UN paper, and he put the billboard up. Now, the interesting part of this, New York City is,
I know he was saying
it is what it is. There's lots of Zionists that live there. We thought, honestly, even though we said it for a week, it would be down in a day. It wasn't. They actually refused to take it down after several complaints. It was actually taken down on day 3 when the Prime Minister's office, the Israeli Prime Minister's office, called the building owner to demand it would be pulled down. Not just that, the actual billboard company got a phone call from the Justice Department asking who was behind it, and then the
Justice Department.
Yep, the Justice Department
got interested in a billboard.
In a billboard, and then the third phone call came in that we were told by the billboard owner was this. He said, not many people in the White House own other buildings in New York, but he called, and so we had to pull it down.
Damn, dude, I swear,
so it's fucked. It went that high up, and it shows you the degree that which Israel was worried about this wave that it caused in both international media. It was in Israeli press, it was in Haaretz, and yet on Channel 12, which were asking whether UEFA would do this or not. It caused chaos for them. So they have instant things to shut down the source of the momentum effectively. Now they didn't stop anything, but it showed you how concerned they were and what lengths they would to counter free speech. Now to fast forward to today, if you try and put a billboard up in New York now that has anything to do with Israel and sports, you will be denied. Apparently there's some sort of, I'm not going to call it a ruling, but a ban on anything to do with Israel and sports.
I tried.
So following that billboard, there is now, we tried to do a second one around the upcoming thing that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but they were like, no, we can't touch Israel and sports as it going forward.
And so you and I were talking leading into the ceasefire negotiations. And you had, as I recall, you had meetings scheduled. But when the ceasefire was then announced, those were punted. So what was your sense of what the kind of European reaction was? Were they thinking okay, well, maybe the ceasefire and we can not have to worry about this issue anymore? And how did you get the meetings back on track? You put up the first element, this is from the New York Times. UEFA held meetings with the pro-Palestinian campaign over possible Israel suspension after ceasefire.
Well, look, the minute the billboard went up, we got calls from UEFA to actually directly engage with them. several advisors on our campaign, like Richard Falk, Craig McIver, Michael Link, people who are, legends of the UN and human rights, and 2 former ICJ judges that we work with, were invited to submit evidence to Israel's, genocide. So we had this back channel already open, and we'd submitted all that in advance of what would have been a 30th of September vote, which obviously never took place because of the ceasefire. And UEFA's argument was, why would we disrupt the ceasefire and peace process following that? We just didn't stop. Shit. We decided, look, we know that. We then decided to set up a series of meetings with the executive committee at UEFA. There's a 21-member executive committee. They're made up of football federation leaders. The country head of football in England, France, Italy, just to give people context. It'd be like the state having a representative, for them in all sports that goes to like a federal body, right? So in essence, we started meeting with all of them to justify that even after a ceasefire, even if the bombs and bullets are stopped, and everyone listening knows that the bombs and bullets haven't stopped, but even if they did, you still hold the perpetrators of now a declared genocide accountable. In Europe, we focused on Germany post-World War II. Just because there was an end to the war, you still had Germany banned from international sports for 6 years. More recently, everyone knows the South Africa example, but we used European examples. Yugoslavia devolved into the Balkan War. Several of those nations that came out of that were banned from international sports, and that European sports. We hold the perpetrators of human rights violations and atrocities and war crimes accountable. It doesn't matter if the bombs and bullets stop, we still hold them accountable. The difference here, unlike those other 2 things, we were asking people to hold them accountable while they're still committing a genocide. Because this is being live streamed. Normally it takes years to try these things and years for bans to be put into place, but we're watching it in real time. So we're actually not asking anything out of line from a historical lens. The irony here is it would have been a different lens because we're suspending them while the crimes have happened. And we know Europe can do this. They did it to Russia, right? And it wasn't FIFA. Everyone talks about how FIFA and UEFA reacted really quickly to ban Russia. It was actually 12 European football federations who banded together, led by Sweden and Poland, which includes the likes of France, Italy, and other big powers in Europe. They banded together and said, we will not play football unless you throw Russia out of football. They did that for that. They can do it again if they wanted to. It's a choice. UEFA and FIFA are actually kind of consistent. They didn't want to throw Russia out, but they were forced into it because Europe, being the heart of money in football, decided it was not going to play. So we continue to pursue that and have convinced that. Now we know, Ryan, we know that out of the 19 members that would vote, because Israel can't vote on its own suspension, and the president doesn't vote, he's a tiebreaker. And let's eliminate Germany because they're all in with Israel. But we know out of the 19 members, we definitely have 14 yeses to suspend them. And probably the rest will go with them. And we need a majority of 1, that's all. And we know that to be certain at this point. We just need the president of UEFA to call the vote. And he's the only remaining roadblock at this point.
Well, I was going to ask, actually, if you could bring us up to speed on what your sense is of how these arguments are landing behind closed doors, talking about the comparison with Russia, Yugoslavia, Germany. Public opinion over the course of the Gaza war obviously shifted pretty significantly against Israel worldwide. So are you finding actually that there's a lot of kind of open minds as this argument is made, in meetings and in private conversations?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the genocide anymore for European football leaders and European sports ministers or whatever you want to call them. The other issue they're facing now is the ICJ ruling that says that Israel should not be in occupied land, which Israel has in their league 5 or 6 teams in the occupied West Bank, which is illegal. So now these European countries are kind of complicit if they play those teams, and they come under the UEFA banner of Europe. And then the other thing, and this is like, it should be just for the genocide, right? But let's just be honest, they think about multiple factors. When they think about this stuff to keep them engaged, they understand the accountability after the action part. But the other thing that's really bothering them is none of them want to host Israel. None of them want the political turmoil, the protests that could turn into whatever they could turn into, but also the foot the bill for these things. Recently, an Israeli team played in Germany, and the escort they got from the police, and their football fans, by the way, who turned up in Germany, the escort they got from the police was something that Trump would be proud of. Like, it was like a national parade level of policing. That would have cost the German taxpayer millions upon millions of dollars to orchestrate for one Israeli club team. No one wants to deal with that. no one also wants to be penalized if they have to play Israel. Some countries are deemed unsafe for Israel to travel to now. They have to give up their home games. Their home fans won't be able to see their team play, and they'll move to a random location, like let's say Hungary, and you're an Italian club or something like that. You have to play your home game in another country. All these countries, all these institutions, all these footballers and fans are all being impacted now, beyond the fact that I think the majority do care about the genocide. Football is being impacted to keep this entity in football, and it's beyond the pale for so many people, and that's why this argument's resonating with so many people. And I think the only thing that Ceferin, what's holding him back is we had that momentum in September that was kind of stripped away from him and us and everybody else in that moment, right, to have the suspension done. And what we've gauged from our senior executive meetings with them is they want an environment where they have to make the decision and they can't be completely blamed for it. And that's what we're doing next, as you brought up a couple of times here. The next thing we're doing right now is to actually work with the Swiss government, Swiss MPs, to actually apply pressure where maybe Ceferin can say, I've kicked Israel out, but look, the Swiss government gave me no choice.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Swiss government real quickly. So put up this last element here. A Swiss politician's push to revoke UEFA's tax-exempt status over complicity with Israeli apartheid. It's a fascinating development here. Correct my understanding of this. My understanding is that UEFA gets a tax-exempt status under a general provision that they are promoting peace and well-being and coexistence.
At least I didn't die too
and complicity with apartheid and genocide is quite clearly in conflict with the promotion of peace. So it's kind of like a Weird Al Capone way of taking them down and saying, like, okay, fine, do whatever you want, but you can't be tax exempt if you're going to be complicit in genocide. So is that the push here? And what kind of momentum does this have?
Well, we're doing two simultaneous things. So we're taking one thing that's going to be launched in January, probably in between two votes, which I'll explain in a second, is a legal case against the West Bank teams, right? We're basically saying, is the Israeli League is illegally in the West Bank. The International Court of Justice has ruled that UEFA, you're complicit, and we'd ask the Swiss government to enforce international law in UEFA and to suspend Israel. That will take potentially months, as you know. Any international law takes months. But simultaneously, to expedite this, we've actually worked with Swiss parliamentarians at a local parliament in Vaud, which is the region that UEFA is housed in, which includes Geneva and Nyon. And we're working with Swiss MPs at a federal level across the country. And we build coalitions of, by the way, socialists, conservatives, Greens, whatever, right? 2 Green MPs took this forward, but they co-signed it with conservatives because in the end, Swiss actually care about their tax law. Look, I'll tell you how protected this specific thing is. They gave it to the Olympics, they've given it to UEFA, they've given it to FIFA. The Equestrian Union, for whatever the world name is for it, applied for it, but they're saying equestrian is such a unique sport and only like a handful of countries participate. You do not naturally promote peace across the world. Like, they take it very seriously. They're a rules-based order. They actually believe in international law. Look, is how their actions perfect on everything? Probably not. But when it comes to tax, they're very serious about it. So basically, on the 13th of January, Canton Vaud, the local parliament, will have a debate. They have to debate it and then vote to revoke UEFA's tax status. And then 2 weeks later, there'll be a federal vote. Now, we think we could win the first one. We don't know what the federal vote's going to turn out like at this point. But the point of it is that
sucks.
Momentum always builds. So if the local vote goes, we have the legal case dropping in the middle. We believe that UEFA won't want the federal vote to happen at that point, right? We believe that, like, at that point, it's like too risky. There's millions of dollars on the table. Yes, they'll send the best lobbyists in the world and use all the money and power they have in Switzerland to make sure they do seal the vote. They only need a majority of 1. But the point is, do they even want to risk it? And the questions that they're going to be asked by international media who are going to this, by the way, we already know people from the United States are sending camera crews. We know the BBC is sending camera crews. The questions they're going to have to answer are like, why won't you even temporarily suspend Israel until they remove those 5-6 teams from the West Bank, which puts you back in, it eliminates the apartheid, eliminates the occupation element of it that the ICJ has already ruled on. What would their answer be? Why would you risk losing your tax status over that? Like, what would your justification of stealing Palestinian land to continue football be? Do they even want to answer those questions? And the argument we're saying, and actually a conservative MP in Switzerland brought up, was like, we don't support you necessarily on the whole Palestine issue, but we support the fact that we don't believe UEFA is promoting peace as they allow a league in UEFA to participate with teams on stolen land. and we take our tax stuff seriously. And here's the thing: everyone goes to me, well, won't the US punish Switzerland like they threatened to punish other countries?
That's my bad.
I guarantee you, given the amount of high-powered people with money in Switzerland, in the current administration, but every administration, and across the wealth of America, that Switzerland's probably the one nation that the US might not try to sanction if they force UEFA's hand here. You know, they're not losing FIFA. They can hold face and say, look, they can get kicked out of the international game, but they're out of Europe.
That sucks.
But for us,
two of them.
that's all that matters. Israel plays 90+% of its football in Europe. It plays club football, as you mentioned, Ryan, but it also plays two other international tournaments just within Europe. And it gets a subsidy from the UEFA league, because not everything is the Premier League, La Liga, all the big, Western European leagues. A lot of the smaller leagues in Eastern Europe and now Israel need that subsidy to survive. They would lose all that. We effectively end Israeli football, maybe even on a temporary suspension, which could end up being permanent. Because we all know, watching this, that there's no way Netanyahu, Gavir, and Smotrich pull those teams out. Stubbornly, they probably would create a 7th or 8th team.
Or they could just end the apartheid. So we'll see.
They're going to do a welcome to Wrexham West Bank. That's going to be the Smotrich move.
That would be the Smotrich move. Yeah. I can see that.
That would be. Well, Ashish, thanks for updating us on this, and we'll look forward to covering this in January.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show, ad-free, and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at BreakingPoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at BreakingPoints.com.
There was a story in the Chronicle of Higher Education about how University of Austin, which is the anti-woke university, unaccredited university started by Barry Weiss.
And with the help, of course, of a bunch of really, really rich guys like Andreessen, Horowitz, etc.
And what's his face? Harlan Crow.
Harlan Crow.
The guy who bought Thomas, or kept him on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas.
So a bunch of, Barry Weiss, her whole career has been elevated by right-wing billionaires, and this is no exception.
And the funny part about this is that UATX was started because it was supposed to be, we don't censor. We are not censorious.
Yeah, it just makes the name the Free Press
allow all different opinions
I know it's CBS
here.
that it happened on, but it's still
according to
very
an
nice.
analysis from the Chronicle of Higher Education, many of the people who joined UATX at the beginning of the school project have departed, either by choice or due to public disagreements with the school's trajectory. Over 20 university employees have left UATX. Eli Avashi, the co-founder and director of the Mill Institute, which is an educational organization working with UATX, was asked to leave the university after posting an article about diversity in initiatives on LinkedIn. In that post, Avashi wrote, "We can have criticisms of DEI without wanting to tear down the whole concept of diversity and inclusion."
Whoa.
And Barry Weiss fired her. In a piece for the website Quillette in May, Avashi said that she had been drawn to UATX initially because she experienced ideological tribalism while at Harvard. But Avashi said that instead, she never expected to also find ideological litmus test at UATX.
Huh.
In other words...
Oh my God, I'm losing it.
There's ideological tribalism everywhere, but Harvard didn't fire you.
Yes!
Barry
UATX
Weiss
did.
Who I
because
guess,
of what you posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah, Barry Weiss, when reading about this morning, I was reminded that I guess after the election, she hosted the debate between Sam Harris and Ben Shapiro, and Sam Harris was the Kamala representative and Shapiro was the Trump one. It's like,
yeah, both sides.
Both sides. That's why. But a center-right Zionist and a far-right Zionist are going to debate American politics.
Well, that was like my old buddy Indy Mike, who said, "I'm an independent. I listen to both sides. I listen to both Megyn Kelly and Sean Hannity."
And Bill Maher now.
Yeah. But this story is not about Barry Weiss at UATX.
Oh, I could have totally done this without
or whatever that unaccredited Trump university
UATX.
Is. She is now the head of all the news at CBS, based upon her running a small Substack.
Hold on a second.
And there was, for weeks apparently, advertising about a 60 Minutes story that was going to be about CCOT, which of course is that gulag in El Salvador that the Trump administration sent just randos who were not American citizens there. Although I think there was one, was there one American citizen?
But either way, this is where Kilmar Abrego Garcia was sent. This is where the hairdresser, the gay hairdresser was sent, the man with the autism awareness tattoo, the real horror stories that we've highlighted. People remember that CCOT's essentially a torture camp. They horrifically abuse the detainees there.
And so CBS had advertised the segment on Friday, featuring interviews by Sharon Alfonsi, among others. They interviewed some of the deported migrants who have since been released from the gulag, saying they described, quote, the brutal and torturous conditions they endured. And Bari Weiss apparently, I think at first killed it and then said, oh, we're just actually holding it back for more content.
For comment. For comment by the Trump administration.
Well, and here's the thing. Yes, they want to actually allow Stephen Miller to go on camera. And the point is that for weeks, in fact, weeks and weeks, they have asked, at least the reporters did, comment from the White House, and they said nothing. So Sharon Alfonsi, this 60 Minutes correspondent, said that Bari Weiss had spiked the story. And the reason why we know this is because apparently the Wall Street Journal reported it because they got a hold of this email. And the email, I'll read parts of it.
This is an internal email of that correspondent to, I guess, the rest of the CBS team.
Yes, because on Saturday, apparently, Bari Weiss spiked the story, and people found out about it like throughout the next day, I guess, and said, what's going on? What's going on? So she wrote, news team, thank you for the notes and texts. I apologize for not reaching out earlier. I learned on Saturday that Bari Weiss spiked our story inside CCOT, which was supposed to air tonight. We, Ori and I, asked for a call to discuss her decision. She did not afford us that courtesy / opportunity. That's what's sort of like, that's honestly the most shocking thing about it.
I was just trying to make this chair, but
that she's like, I don't need to give you a reason at all for spiking this story that we have been advertising and it clearly has been set up to go. I mean, let's be clear what happened here. Someone in the White House saw that they were going to run with the story.
It's been like months since I played this.
Ellison's trying to take over WB. In fact, he just offered like a $40 billion guarantee.
Was supposed to like activate,
and they realized this is going to be a problem for us.
Right, and her explanation of we need Stephen Miller to come on camera and comment about this, it literally just allows the Trump administration to hold the story and to kill it. Because if they never comment on it, if that's your standard, then the story doesn't come out. And that's the purpose.
This is what Sharon Alfonsi... No, but that's what she said. Right. We requested responses to questions or interviews with DHS, the White House, and the State Department. Government silence is a statement, not a veto.
Yep.
Their refusal to be interviewed is a tactical maneuver designed to kill the story. If the administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike a story, we have effectively handed them a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient. If the standard for airing a story becomes, quote, the government must agree to be interviewed, then the government effectively gains control over the 60 Minutes broadcast. We go from an investigative powerhouse to a stenographer for the state. These men risk their lives to speak with us. We have a moral and professional obligation to the sources who entrusted us with their stories. Abandoning them now is a betrayal of the most basic tenet of journalism, giving voice to the voiceless. She goes on to compare this to what was the name of that movie they made about
think
this?
what I did was wrong.
The Pacino one.
No, not Pacino. It was the guy, you know, the Australian guy. The guy who was in the. Oh, come on. You know, he's the Australian action guy.
Oh, God.
Crocodile Dundee.
No, not Crocodile Dundee. He was in
Russell Crowe.
I think this hot sauce might be illegal. Now,
I can't find my glasses. I think they're in the car, and the car's in the shop. So we're just gonna feel a little different this time. I still see fine. I might have a headache when this is all done. We're gonna make it happen.
I can only
Speaking
go to
of
him,
things
right?
happening,
Like, I don't save
there's
them for
something
anybody
happening
else.
in American politics right now that should scare a lot of people, but maybe not the people watching this particular video. It should scare our ops, so to speak. Despite how ugly things are right now, and things are very much ugly, if you're looking at public sentiment in the last few years up to now, you'll notice that there are a lot of new trains of thought, or really I should say old trains of thought, returning to the public discourse or the public imagination for the first time in decades. The way people are talking about what we should expect from our government and our economy and how all these things should be organized, all of that is shifting. It's not a fever pitch. It's not fully saturated, and it's definitely not perfect, but it is happening. One example of this comes from the story of a legitimate socialist running for mayor in New York. Buffalo, New York, back in 2021. You may have missed this because it was relatively niche at the time and it was at the height of the pandemic, but in Buffalo, New York, a black woman named India Walton ran as a Democratic socialist and won her primary race against a long-standing establishment candidate named Byron Brown, who had been entrenched in the role of mayor of that city for almost 20 years at that point. Like most major cities, the Democratic nominee race was the only real election that mattered, and by winning the nominee, India Walton was all but guaranteed to become the city's next mayor, or so it was thought. See, the Democratic Party, surprise, surprise, showed its true colors and its allegiance to power and the status quo by helping Byron Brown mount a massive independent campaign in Buffalo as a write-in candidate, even helping him mass-produce stamps to give out to voters that they could use to write his name in for mayor by just stamping the name on the page, which sounds illegal, but you know, I don't know. Despite the fact that Brown had been mayor for going on 20 years and had seen the city decline in numerous ways that entire time, this was presented as a win for the people, but in reality, the Democratic establishment in New York just refused the people's will and did not get behind the candidate chosen for their party. Furthermore, Brown received significant support and donations from New York City Republicans that fueled him to victory. Hilariously, Brown would then abandon his role as mayor 2 years later after he accepted a role as a CEO of a horse betting organization or something in New York. That was the one that definitely needed to happen for the people of Buffalo. I don't know too much about the city of Buffalo, nor do I know how the end result of that mayoral race affected local politics, but I know some folks that do.
Shout out to the Mamdanis. You know, shout out to all the socialist mayors. I do believe that if it wasn't for India Walton, I don't know if y'all be around. I'm just saying.
The way he did it was so insidious too. I'm not gonna lie. I think the stamps just killed me.
There is a part of Buffalo, we call it, well, it's south of Buffalo, South Buffalo, that is, at the time, not necessarily now, but at the time, predominantly conservative, and still to this day predominantly white. And even though they didn't like the incumbent mayor Byron Brown,
you have a really big home.
They really didn't like.
No wonder you kept complaining about the size of our village.
I worry less about Mamdani and worry more about his constituents.
No,
there's a part of me that also worries about, you know, people stopping here.
And where did you
and
come
feeling
from?
like you said, thinking that electoral politics
Remember
is
those
going
bedtimes?
be what gets us out of our current situation, when in reality it's not. Politicians are always going to disappoint you.
Not like a politician being a socialist is not going to do that for you.
Oh, I'm
you know,
not
like
playing
people.
small
I think
nation,
like I share Alia's sentiments of that worry of like people.
That's where I call.
giving up their, putting their hands up and being like, well, we did it. We got a socialist mayor, so there's something else that, we need to do.
I love how socialist mayor feels so pejorative. This is a great conversation that I had with these members of Lola. This whole conversation should be available by now on the Signify podcast channel. But I love how we use the term socialist mayor here in somewhat of a tongue-in-cheek way, both maybe with a tinge of hope, but also with an appropriate level of cynicism, I think, as we recognize that while it's good that figures like India Walton, or maybe more significantly Brandon Johnson in Chicago, make strides to reintroduce socialism to American politics, that fundamentally electoral politics as a whole is a limited use tool for the goals of liberation for Black people and Americans and the world in general. On one end, as I alluded to earlier, having the concept of socialism not just be reintroduced to the American public consciousness, but also get legitimate political wins is a good thing and speaks to a spark that the American left has not had since the 70s. However, there's a reason why it's been so long since leftist political ideals have been taken seriously in the mainstream. The deck has not just been stacked, but meticulously manipulated for 50 years to not allow this type of wave that we're currently in to happen. And more importantly, we have to be able to recognize that this wave is just that. It is not radical or revolutionary or promised to sustain. It's just the energy of the moment. And it's important to keep that perspective regardless of how our desires to take a victory lap make us feel, because I've seen all of this before and I know how this story ends depending on the decisions and trajectories we take right now. And this brings me to one Zohran Kwame Mamdani, the current premier leader of the Communist Republic of New York City, or if you want to be more normal about things, the mayor-elect of New York City. Recently, Mamdani made history by becoming one of the youngest and maybe I think the first ever Muslim mayor of the country's richest, most populous, and most important city. He has immediately thrust himself onto the big stage of politics, becoming a powerful figure in the Democratic Party, and he comes into that position with a ton of fanfare, goodwill, and hope.
Neil Gaiman? What are you doing in my falafel?
And the last time I've seen something like this was in 2008 with Barack Obama. This is something I tried to talk about a few months ago, but everyone got mad at me about it. I saw folks say that Obama was always a fake leftist and that no one with any real sense ever thought he was going to fundamentally change American politics, etc., etc. But Mamdani, he's the real deal. Zohran Kwame Mamdani is going to be the change that this country has been looking for, ushering in the leftist utopia that will see us finally make improvements for America's working class, become a champion of affordability, address the police state in New York City, and completely divest from the Zionist entity in the Middle East, along with every other aspect of our American imperial apparatus that's going to be fixed once he becomes our new leader. Sadly, as I predicted, the belief that he was going to be our new leftist god didn't quite ring true. I could say I told you so. I did tell you so. Listen to your elders. Listen. That's the end of the video. I want to be clear though, when I was developing this take early, it was never to outright say Mamdani is going to be just as bad as Obama in terms of...
Welcome everybody to Stavi's World. 904-800-STAV. Call in, we'll solve all your problems. It's the holiday season, everyone. December 23rd, I believe. Isn't that right, Eldis? Oh, wow, you're playing Jingle. Oh, shit, guys. It's us. We have a fifth Santa coming.
The fattest one is stuck in the chimney. The four of us can make it down. Ralphie May's been up there.
The ghost of Ralphie May is stuck in the chimney. I like to think that John Panette and Ralphie May are looking over us like Force ghosts right now. Chris Farley, every dead fat guy.
Panette is still doing the Chinese voice, though. That's upsetting everybody.
We're like, John, please.
I didn't know that guy died.
You do a Ouija board. He's still doing the voiceover through Ouija board.
John, there's over 1 billion dead Chinese people in heaven with us. You gotta stop doing that.
I like to think the real Santa is watching this and be like, I don't look that bad.
Come on. This is disrespectful.
He uses this as his before picture.
That's right, folks. We have potentially the most... Is this the largest podcast that's ever... The most tonnage... Especially when you factor the producer in.
Oh, yeah.
Producer and a guest.
This definitely beats the fucking Kelsey Brothers
Yo,
podcast.
It's not even close.
Especially once Jason retired. He dropped like 100 pounds.
That always pisses me off when a lineman who's fat, is like 300 pounds, within like 4 months weighs like 190, and it's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, because I've got myself convinced that there are just some people who are supposed to be 300 pounds.
Of course.
And sometimes they're 5'8".
It's different on everybody. Yes, we have with the Stavi's World Christmas special, Oops All Santas, with Mike Mitchell, Zach Cherry, John Gabris. The most, honestly, you know, we shouldn't say our secrets, but we've started a fat cabal to take over Hollywood.
Ow.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch brings it up every day on Doughboys, so it's not so much a secret.
Wait, don't I have something for this already?
I figured it out. This guy's the fucking secret sieve. Don't tell him anything you don't want out there.
Interesting.
You got the best gossip always.
That is
Secret
true.
stay with me. Don't worry about it. You can tell me.
Yeah, you'll only tell everyone you know. And then usually also your listeners.
They're good people. They're good people. The people I tell are
They're
good
Platinum
people.
Plate Club, okay?
But you'll say, maybe we should edit this out before, and you won't edit it out. Oh, fuck. Eldis has bells on his shoes, too.
Perfect for the audio format.
I know. That's what I was saying I have him so I can keep track of Eldis. So I know where he is at all. He can never sneak up on me. We were all saying this is it when you're a fat comedian, it is PTSD putting the red cowl back on.
Oh, 100%. I feel like if you look at my IMDb is like Daniel Craig's with James Bond and like with Santa. It's the same thing. What's the other shitty? What's the where he's the Southern detective? What's the other one?
Last on Knives Out.
Knives Out. It's the same thing. He has like 2 roles. It's like
you're
Saint Nick and Santa.
Searching for that second.
You get Dom DeLuise. Dom DeLuise.
Young Dom DeLuise.
It's a bummer
in the biopic.
When I'm
he
credited
learned how to sing like Dom DeLuise.
It's a bummer when you get credited as Fat Santa.
Okay.
You're like, wait, why is that modifier there?
Yeah. I mean, starting from the first time I probably played Santa, I was probably like, because it starts young, because you're always the fattest kid.
I thought they would just go away
I played
eventually.
Santa in like 3rd grade.
It's either Santa or the dad.
Right.
Because somehow fat means
Okay,
old.
fine.
You're so right. Never tall kid.
They put you in a suit. I remember driving with my teacher to a Big and Tall store to buy a suit because I was playing the dad in something, and they had to
Oh,
Oh,
back up here.
That's fucking incredible, dude.
Awesome.
Holy shit.
I did pretty good.
I was
Maybe I'm not supposed to go down
Santa
there.
for my friend.
But
my friend's
we're going
family.
anyway.
Oh,
And then they just are. He
just
was
a little
like,
private gig. Just picked up a private gig. Not even for the school.
and his
Like,
uncle was like, Santa's getting excited when like his nieces were sitting on my lap. I was like, what are you doing to me?
I did like Santa for a friend's Christmas party. Like they were like, just come be in Santa, get drunk, and like bullshit with people. I'm like, oh hell yeah! And then like 5 minutes in, I'm like, this is the most upsetting thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
I just had a flashback. I played Ben Franklin for UPenn alumni party one time.
Ben Franklin and Santa are very close.
That's good.
Yeah, both have
I've also
chlamydia.
played Ben Franklin before.
Let's all relax. I'm working on a Ben Franklin script right now. I mean, truly, that is the role I was born to play.
It's
I
all
have
about
his
the
hair, dude.
Benjamins.
I mean, check this shit out. I don't even need to do shit. I have his hair. I need the little glasses.
You take air baths. That was Ben Franklin's
Yeah,
big thing.
he would just air out.
He would air out. Do you know that
Walk
about
around
him?
naked at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We're
smart.
getting a buzz. Unplug your shit. You don't hear that, fucking producer? It's your job to make sure the audio doesn't sound like shit.
There we go.
There we go. No. I guess you're just gonna have to keep your fingers on it all fucking episode.
I was
only
like,
hearing bells
that'll
right
go
now.
away, right?
This isn't getting recorded at all. We just sit here in Santa costumes like assholes for no reason.
When
It's gone now.
This is being uploaded to a very specific gay porn site.
Holy fuck. If an hour in we start sucking each other's cocks, we can make so much money, dude.
If. I think I misread the email. I got that gum that makes your mouth water.
That was smoother.
I did when
I heard about this stuff.
Yeah, what is the gun that makes your mouth water?
Yeah, there's like a gun. A gun?
I thought I could dodge in the air. I keep forgetting I
my mouth starts to water.
My body craves it. My body craves the gun.
Can I try it next?
Oh, I have it here. That's great.
Hey, officer, can I try a taste of your gun on the subway?
How do we get, okay, you know, I need this.
Have you
these guns make your mouth water? Reaching for the fattest type of suicidal ideation possible. You see a gun and your mouth starts fucking watering.
If you said to went up to a cop and pointed at his gun, you go, "That's making my mouth water."
That would be fucking.
Shit.
Are you gonna finish that gun?
Dude, that would be. That might be the fucking funniest way to make a cop uncomfortable. Because you're not really threatening him. You are pointing to his gun, so that you got to be pretty far away. But if you're the farthest away you can be where he can still hear you, it'll be like, that's making my mouth water. You'd be like, this guy's
anyone else?
Could you get in trouble for that? I wonder. I don't know.
Wait, what the fuck?
I'm obsessed with those. There's like a genre of reels where guys squeeze a water bottle like they're pissing with their back to two cops or whatever. And then the cops are like, "What the fuck?" And they turn around and he like smiles with the water bottle. And I'm like, so like obviously only a white guy can do that.
Of course. That's awesome. Yeah. And he's like, it's real piss. And he starts drinking it.
There's no path for me to get up over here because I had to come around.
Better be water. The cop grabs it and immediately drinks it.
Oh, hell yeah. That is fucking awesome. I mean,
like we chose to be Santas, which feels very powerful here. It wasn't
That's
like,
right.
yeah, I could use the $80. Thank you, College Humor.
No,
you know,
and everyone walks with a high quality Santa suit. For your own uses.
Well, that's why you put it on your acting reel.
Yeah,
have my own Santa suit.
Right, so I need whatever
like a lab coat and a police uniform.
Yeah.
Their headshots are them in different costumes that they can bring.
It's just Santa and Jabba the Hutt for us.
Jabba is not even fat anymore. They're doing the skinny Jabba.
They're doing skinny Jabba.
The bear is Jabba.
The bear is Jabba.
That's so fucked up.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's like plays Jabba's jacked nephew.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have a hook.
Shut the fuck up.
And he doesn't even speak. He speaks common or
he
English.
Speaks English, I think. Yeah.
Not even in the weird fat way.
No, I think.
Ho, pussy, I want, or whatever the fuck.
Carson,
Thank God I checked that.
Cigarettes. I'm the funniest guy at the Emmys. Hey, cousin Obada.
I'm having trauma. Isn't this interesting?
Streets of Philadelphia.
Even cooking is about generational trauma. Shut the fuck up.
This is going in my pile of Santa suits, which I think is it's very kind that you're.
Well, you have the Santa room in your
place.
Yeah.
Oh
I will probably wear this to the Riyadh Christmas Festival.
God damn it.
Are you guys going to the Riyadh Christmas Festival or no?
It's the first ever. I'm doing Whose Riyadh Is It Anyway with Drew Carey.
How fucking funny was it that Wayne Brady did go to that? That's so funny. He legit did.
Yeah, he did.
It's
yeah.
so
do improv?
I don't know what he was doing, but he
did a live version of his
podcast. Yeah. It's just like the most wholesome like guy you could like. It's just very funny to think of him there. But anyway.
Congratulations, Wayne.
Congrats to Wayne Brady. We're excited to see what else he's got cooking. It is a beautiful time to be here. Fellowship with my Christmas brothers. What was the last time you played Santa? How about that? And then we'll move on from the topic.
That's a good question.
I think it was a Funny or Die video like 5 years ago where I don't remember what the real premise was. I just remember at one point I'm shitting out presents underneath the Christmas tree. It was kind of funny. And the woman who directed that then did cast me in a real commercial.
Okay, there you
so
go.
I'm like, that's what you hope for from doing $90 videos.
Yes,
is that
of course.
Down the road, you get
Of
like
course.
a real paycheck. So shout out Adriana. She's going to appreciate me butchering her name and putting an accent on for some reason. I'm a fucking newscaster.
I think for
remember
me it was Halloween. I used to just wear it to Halloween.
That's
Smart
good.
power
Because I
move.
didn't have any
I like that though.
costumes,
I
so
actually
would just-
considered this, I mean, obviously now it's December 23rd, but I considered I bought it on Halloween and I considered
Hello.
wearing it on Halloween. But I don't know. I got to go,
You got to go. That is a fun move though because it's very Nightmare Before Christmas too. You know, everyone loves
it's also,
that.
no one else. No one's gonna be dressed as Santa, but everyone's gonna be dressed as fucking Leonardo DiCaprio from One Battle After Another.
Of course.
You're texting me.
I'm searching. I'm
pretty
searching.
much got the robe.
Yeah.
This is basically his costume.
It is. Yeah.
No, I need something.
He is Santa in that movie.
I'll do it. I know. I get it. Let's do it.
I didn't like it as much. The Santa parts took me out of it.
We just can't watch any art and not to see it through a Santa lens.
Well, the real bummer is that Zach thought Leonardo DiCaprio was Santa, and I thought that Sean Penn was Santa. So we both didn't enjoy the movie for the same reason, but also both wrong.
I don't understand.
I guess we are basically the Christmas Adventurers Club was the white supremacists. I guess we are sort of kind of by accident tipping our cap to the fake white supremacists in One Battle After Another.
Did you figure it out?
I was searching Santa in my mail to see what I could find because I know.
And all you found was that naughty and nice list that you wrote.
Oh man, I don't want to put this energy out there, but
wait, did I get it from? No.
How far are we from a Santa mass shooting? Where some guy has a naughty and nice list.
You just sparked an idea for something.
I saw it.
Just in a sled.
Have there been fat mass shooters?
We gotta get in there.
People talk about like they're bullied. I'm like, you know.
Of course, that is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
I feel like not a lot of fat mass shooters. I don't think.
That's why we eat.
Yeah.
To avoid that.
People should be fatter.
Inertia will save the lives of innocent people.
The only thing
that's why they take Zepbound off the market. It's like
shootings are up like crazy.
Oh, dude, there are some fat. They're like you know how they have like ancient diseases trapped under the permafrost. It's like Zepbound is gonna like when some fat people get some confidence, they are gonna commit crimes. Dude. When they're not docile because of their
be
weight.
New STDs when fat guys start fucking. When these crusty fat guys unleash whatever.
I was saying that about
glyceride
getting hurt, not the crusty fat guys.
No, you're right. The only thing that's stopping us from a civil war is that the country's too fat. By the way, there's literally some statistic I saw on Twitter that was like, no country over a certain BMI has ever had a civil war. And I don't know if it's real or not, but I choose to believe
You're
it.
welcome, everyone.
Yeah, that's our doing.